If you have ever been to Mexico City, you know that it is a very large city. I have never been there. I've seen pictures. I've read about it. It's a great city. It has a flaw that is not known to many and not seen by anyone. Mexico City is built on unstable ground. The ground beneath the city of Mexico becomes like a bowl of jelly when an earthquake strikes. You know, jelly looks, sitting there on the table, it looks solid, it's wonderful. You can bang a spoon on it, but it can't be taken apart and eaten. But when you pick that bowl of jelly up and shake it quivers. Woe betide the person who might have a palsy that gives them the shakes when they try to eat jelly. I try not to sit with people who have the shakes if they order, or I know they're going to order Jello for dessert. It's not pretty. I know. My mother's older sister married a man, a wonderful man, a good Christian man, a man who knew mathematics inside and out and taught it to some of the most disreputable young children in the city of Toronto, in a collegiate institute up in what used to be the north end of downtown almost now. He was well loved by his students. He taught them well. His idea of fun was a page full of mathematical equations on Sunday afternoon. Not an 8.5 by 11, but a piece of newsprint. Fill both sides. Solid ground. Think for a moment about the buildings that are going up in downtown Kitchener. Now, we know that the structure beneath the city is fairly sturdy and sound. You see the hills, we can see all kinds of indications that there must be some good rock down there somewhere. But when they begin to build these buildings, they'll dig deep in the ground. They're going down for 2 and 3 floors of parking, but they go below that. And before they do any of that, while the ground is still fairly flat and level at what we call ground level, they bring in these great big drills. They've got, I don't know, something about 2 feet, a little more, 30 inches wide casings that they put down, and they drill down to 40, 50, 60 feet down in the ground. And they've got steel, big steel girders delivered to the site. Well, there's nothing there yet. And you say to yourself, it's too early for steel girders for the building. They're not for the building, they're for the foundations, the footings that go down. Steel is put into those openings, concrete is poured around. That is to support the building that's going up 30, 35 floors. It needs a solid foundation. Anybody seen the Leaning Tower of Pisa? People forgot to check the ground beneath it. And they built it, and it stood straight, and then one day it started to lean, and it leaned, and it leaned. And they got to a point where they had to brace it. And then they got the people out because they had to find a way of solidifying it and bring it back a little bit so it was safe for people to go up. We need a solid foundation. Churches that want to grow need a solid foundation. Oh, it's so easy to come to church. People do it all the time. That's why I chose Psalm 15 this morning. It starts out, Lord, who may dwell in your sanctuary? Who may live on your holy hill? It's referring to the temple in Jerusalem, and about how hard it is to get into that temple. The temple is not some place that you can just walk into. There are questions to be asked. You must prove yourself to be worthy of going in before they will let you in. You had to be a Jew. You had to be ceremonially clean. You couldn't go in unless you were. You had to have brought the proper offerings with you. It was limited to who could go in. Most people who know things like this, that's going on in the Psalms, will tell you that Psalm 15 is an entrance psalm, a psalm of entering into the temple. It was used as a liturgical act preceding entry into the temple, just like our call to worship is a beginning of an entry into the temple, into worship with God. The rest of the psalm is an elaboration of what it means to do right and to walk blamelessly, to do no slander, to speak no evil of anyone, or reproach a neighbor. It says the person who does right builds up community, does not tear it down. There are words that hurt, words that heal. Those who do right speak words of healing. But they are not silent people. They speak out against the wrong that they see, and they praise those who do right. And finally, they do not put money on interest, and do not take a bribe against the innocent. It refers to charitable loans, money that you give to the poor because they need it, or to help someone through a tough time, money you do not expect to be repaid. In other words, we are not to profit from someone else's misery. The definition of doing right that is found throughout the Bible is the same. It is, in fact, a foundational ethic of the Bible. You come across it everywhere. You heard it in the other lessons that we read for you this morning. What caught my attention is that apparently you don't get into the temple until you do these things. But what about the law, you say? What about morality? If we emphasize grace, does that mean that we just tolerate everything? Do we just accept people as they are and not expect anything better from them? Make no demands on them whatsoever? Have no expectation of their behavior? There is always this tension, especially in a church that emphasized grace. What about morality? Grace is given to you to empower you to turn around and to do something with your life. So a conversation is just the beginning. Conversation is the start of a journey. You ought to be going someplace with your life. You ought to be on the go, getting better at what you're doing. You ought to become more loving. John Wesley, the great preacher, emphasized that grace is given to you so that you can do something with your life. Grace is stronger than anything else in your life. It is stronger than bad habits, it is bad upbringing, bad environment, bad parents, bad luck. Grace is powerful. In the hymn, Oh, for a Thousand Tongues to Sing, written by Wesley's brother Charles, it has this to say: he breaks the power of cancelled sin, he sets the prisoner free. You then can begin to a new life. And that's what grace is for, beginning a new life. Grace is the power that sets you free to do good, to become better. Grace is the foundation on which you build your life in Christ. The Old Testament lesson is a wonderful affirmation of this testimony about God's will to set us free. The Jews in the Babylonian exile are away from their home, held against their will. They're in bondage. But Ezekiel sees that the real bondage is not the fact that they're physically held in another country, but they are held by the Babylonians, not really, but held by fatalism, by the idea that they cannot do anything about their situation. I'm just a product of the forces that are greater than I am. Therefore, all I can do is hunker down here in Babylon and wait it out. If that is our attitude, we will always be in exile. We will never, never be free. We will always have that held over our heads. Things are never going to change. My life is always going to be the same. What's the saying? If you aim at nothing, you're sure to hit it. When you aim at a target, always aim high, never aim low. When you look for something to work at, aim for the best there is. Convince the one who's going to hire you that you can do the work. Or make every effort to learn it as quickly as possible. Ask for a janitor's job and you'll get a janitor's job. Ask for a head manager's job, you might get a head foreman's job, but you will work your way to a head manager. Always aim high. The fatalism is condensed into a saying that goes like this: the fathers have eaten sour grapes and their children's teeth are set on edge. There's a lot of truth to that. Psychology has taught us that we ought to take it seriously. There's a moral here. Moral consequences to our actions that reverberate throughout the community and the generations. Any adult who says what I do is my own business is being morally irresponsible. The point of Proverbs: the fathers have eaten sour grapes and their children's teeth are set on edge. Is that the life in a community? And what I do affects you. What you do affects me. You're in a room with other people and a person walks in with a very, very sad face and crying. The mood of the room becomes joyous and boisterous. No, it doesn't. It gets quiet. People get somber. They become sad like the person who entered the room. The same room full of people are gathered together and a person comes bouncing in the room, singing, smiling, having a great time, laughing occasionally. The people are sad. No, they're happy. They join in. They become joyous. They don't know why they're laughing, but they laugh. Laughing is infectious, is it not? The comedian always counts on one person with an infectious laugh. One person with an infectious laugh can get 5,000 people laughing faster than the comedian with all his words. I watched it proved out. Now, we all know that Victor Borge could get a crowd going quite easily. We were in what was called Hamilton Place at the time, something else now that's still there. He was on stage, we were up in the nosebleed section, but down front, about 6 or 8 rows from the stage, there was a man, and he got laughing so loud that everybody in that auditorium could hear him, including me. And I knew who it was. It was my brother. He had that whole place going. So much so that Morgan drew him out and had a conversation with him. One person can change the mood of a room. What you do affects others. What others do affects you. The problem with the people in Babylon was that they were saying, if my present suffering is the result of someone else's sin, then I just have to set it out. I have to sit it out because I didn't have anything to do with it. Somebody else didn't have to wait until they're punished enough, and then we'll all be free. In the language of their day, God is not finished with the punishment. That is the idea Ezekiel attacked. So our text begins, what do you mean the fathers have eaten sour grapes and the children's teeth are set on edge? As I live, says the Lord God, this proverb shall no more be used by you in Israel. No more excuses that something up there, some power greater than myself is preventing me from the life that God has created for me. This proverb, this excuse, shall no more be used by you. Stunning revelation in the song is that what you do affects your relationship with God. It reveals that God's availability is linked to our morality. We always assume that God would be there if we needed Him. Don't call us, we'll call you. But it doesn't work that way, according to these scriptures. They say our morality, the way we live, has something to do with God's availability. That's why they ask the question at the door of the temple, O Lord, who may dwell in your sanctuary? Who may live on your holy hill? He who walks blamelessly and does right. Now I thought about what that means to us. And I have to admit that it's strange to me. And I assume it's strange to you. And I came to the conclusion that what we know about God is not only what we experienced in our lives, but what others have experienced in their lives. In fact, the Bible is a record of how others have experienced God. The authors of the passages we have wrestled with this morning know about God's grace, but they have discovered something else about God, something that you and I may be resisting. We may be resisting it because we are modern men and women, shaped by the modern world's fascination with human freedom and autonomy. And so we believe that morality is a personal thing, a matter of individual conscience. Morality, in the words of our day, is a matter of lifestyle. And so we may resist it because we are so thoroughly modern. Or we may resist it because we don't want to hear it. We come to church to be comforted, not to be challenged. If your world is shaking, if God is not real to you, or if you subject that God that has abandoned you, then consider this. God's availability is linked with your morality. So So maybe you don't need more grace. Maybe you have sufficient grace already. And what you need at this moment, right now, is to use the grace that God has given you to do good and to be better. A solid foundation built on using the grace that God has given us to become better, to do good, to shun evil, to speak the good of others, not evil. A whole list of things. It is, in our terms, being a moral person. Not the modern day morality of what's mine is mine and what's yours is mine and everybody's happy. It is being the person God wants you to be, one who helps others, one who sees a need and reaches out to the best of their ability. That is a solid foundation from which to build.